Even though Netflix keeps pissing me off by not only raising their prices, but also canceling shows, I'm still not over Sense8. It's still more justifiable to keep than Disney Plus because of shows like this. And welcome to my Safe Gayven, everybody. Thank you guys so much for clicking on another video and joining me here on the Black Gay Comic Geek channel. If this is your first time checking out my channel, hey, let me introduce myself. My name is Michael. I call myself the Black Gay Comic Geek, and I always say the things I love to talk about on my channel has blood, sex, gore, and magic, or any variation of the four. So I like to talk about nerd stuff, superheroes, video games, comic books, action movies, horror movies, sci-fi, fantasy, and of course I like to talk about black representation and queer representation. So if that's something that you're interested in, hit the subscribe button, become one of my Safe Gayveneers, become one of my followers. I actually just passed 8,000 subscribers on this channel, and now I'm at over 8,100 subscribers on this channel. So let's go. Let's keep this channel growing. And I can't do that without you hitting the subscribe button. And then also, this is a free thing that you can do. Hit the like button. It'll really help with the YouTube algorithm, getting this video out there, my channel out there. Watch, like, share, comment, interact on this video and all my videos for the all gay rhythm. Now, guys, we are here to talk about a show. I know I'm late on this. It actually came out a while ago. I watched it a while ago. It is called Blue-Eyed Samurai, but I'm actually not late because it was just recently renewed yesterday, I believe, for season 2. So I was like, oh, when I saw that news, I was like, oh, now it's time for me to actually jump on and review this show. And so the synopsis for Blue-Eyed Samurai is, during Japan's Edo period, 17th century, half-white, half-Japanese swordmaster Mizu quests for vengeance against 4 white men who illegally remained in Japan during the closing of its borders by the Tokugawa shogunate. And this show has a lot of familiar names like Masai Oka, who played Hiro Nakamura in the show Heroes. It has Ming-Na Wen, Stephanie Hsu, who was the daughter of Michelle Yeoh's character in Everything Everywhere All at Once, Randall Park, Harry Shum Jr., George Takei, and so many other Asian voice actors that are a part of this cast. And not only is the cast stacked for this particular animated series, but the animation is incredible. Not just the animation itself, but the animation style, almost in the like 3D-esque aspect. And while I'm not a full fan of the whole 3D-esque aspect, I wish it was more 2D, it still looks beautiful. And then just the way it's shot and the fluidity of the movie, especially when you think about this show being a fighting Japanese animated show, and you can see pretty much everything that's happened. It doesn't look like it's cutting with the frames per second. Like, it is just completely fluid. And I'm not like an animation person or a person that studies like how animation, so I can't fully describe like what I mean, but it just looks great. It looks incredible, and you can just see how fluid it is. And it kind of reminds me of things like Castlevania. It reminds me of things like Avatar: The Last Airbender, and how fluid it is with the movement. And like, this show is also, I always say the things I love to talk about on my channel has blood, sex, gore, and magic. This basically has everything but the magic because it's based in the real life world of Japanese, the Edo period during that time. So it's not like a lot of times when you think about like samurai shows, there's some type of magic. No, it's based in reality, but the magic is in the animation because of how gorgeous this show is. And yeah, talking about the show having blood, sex, and gore, this show is not for kids. And I say that not even because the blood and the gore, because a lot of parents, they don't care if their kids see anything that, like, they'll let their kids watch The Walking Dead, but they get really weird when it comes to sex. And this show, when it comes to sex, there's a lot of sex. And it's not just, you know, hinted at this, like, no, you can tell, like, these characters are fucking, and they don't, it's not porn, obviously, so they don't show it in that aspect, but it's very graphic in terms of the sexual content. I'm here for it. I love it. Again, blood, sex, gore, and magic. And honestly, in many ways, I kind of feel like this show is a rated R version of Disney's Mulan. And then speaking of that, you have Ming-Na Wen, who was the original voice actress of the animated Mulan. She's in this. And then, so in some ways, it kind of feels like, because you have the main character who is Mizu. She's pretending and going around having people think that she is a man, because during this time in 17th century Japan, women don't even really have that many rights. Like, there's actually a scene in a moment in this show where there's a woman who's trying to gain passage to another village to sell her goods. I think she sells like wicker baskets and things like that. But she's not even allowed to go to this other village without permission from her husband. But she's trying to explain to these people her husband died, and realistically speaking, she was the one that was running the business. The husband was only there to sell the goods, but it was mostly her. But she wasn't allowed to go because she had no husband. She didn't get permission. And so she was basically left out to die because she didn't have a man to give her permission to sell goods. And granted, I don't know the rules of 17th century Japan or even Japan today, but I'm pretty sure that's something that's not something that they made up for the purposes of the show. I mean, hell, even here in America, women weren't allowed to get credit cards in their own name without the permission of their husband until about 1975. And so because of that, it was very interesting seeing multifaceted and women in a whole bunch of different stations in life. You have Mizu pretending to be a boy, and she's a fighter, she's a samurai, she's one of the best, but yet she can't live in her full glory as a woman. Seeing the way she navigates through this world, you get to see more privileged women and the way they have to navigate through the world. You get to see women that are poorer and how they have to navigate through the world. You get to see women in brothels and living as, sex workers and how they have to navigate through this world. And it was very interesting in how they get their power and how even despite their subjugation, they're still really the ones that are running stuff. And another reason I say this show really reminds me of Mulan, because almost kind of the same thing happens with the character of Mizu, and then there's another character named Taigen, where they're like childhood rivals. They pretty much hate each other. And eventually, Mizu and Taigen start to fall for each other, but Taigen thinks that Mizu is a guy. And he starts to kind of question himself, because he's always thought of himself as kind of, heterosexual. But then here he is falling for this guy, but then he actually doesn't know that she's actually a woman. And so it's kind of the same thing what happened with Mulan. And why am I drawing a blank on the guy's name? Let's get down to business. Li Shang, there we go. And honestly, it's because of that narrative. I do wish that they actually went the route of making Mizu a male. And then because, we kind of, granted, I love this show and it was very interesting. It was very much about women, but also at the same time, because you kind of seen this before with like Mulan, granted, like I said, this is a more rated R version of Mulan. I would have liked to have seen, that dynamic play out where, Mizu was actually a guy. And Taigen, who always thought himself to be straight, ends up falling for this guy in 17th century Japan. It is a story and a narrative that we've never seen before. So, again, my motto is always make it gayer. And yeah, like I said, considering this show was mostly about the women, I don't want to take that away from that. But also at the same time, there's different stories that I wish as a gay man I would like to be able to see. And that's something that we've never seen before. Like I talk about all the time, like when are we gonna get to see a gay action hero story or anything like that? Where instead of the guy always getting the girl at the end, the James Bond and getting the Bond girl, James Bond getting the Bond boy. Or like I said, the badass samurai that falls for another badass samurai. But anyway, that's not, what I want isn't what this video is about. But that's something that I was just like thinking about while all of that was playing out. So I was just like, oh, so this is very much like Mulan. But yeah, but I absolutely love this show. If you love some badass martial arts, if you love fluid and great animation, if you love a captivating storyline, because like the politics of Japan during that time, like all of it was incredible from start to finish. And these episodes were pretty long, like they're almost an hour each, and they're 8 episodes per for this first season. I would definitely recommend checking out Blue-Eyed Samurai. I can't wait for season 2. And because of how good this show is, this actually goes back to what I was saying in the intro of this particular video. of like why Netflix is more justifiable to keep than Disney Plus, because outside of the Marvel and Star Wars shows, which aren't out all the time, there's really nothing on Disney. Like I never have a reason to open Disney Plus unless there's a new Marvel or Star Wars show out. But at least with Netflix, like I recently just started watching She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. I know I'm late, but it's still new for me. And like you can still find little gems or little hidden things to watch on Netflix that will pique your interest, as opposed to Disney Plus. Like, how often do I get the urge to watch like Beauty and the Beast or Aladdin? Very rare. So I hardly ever open Disney Plus, and they actually just recently, and the reason I bring this up is because I was only paying like $85 a year to keep Disney Plus, but they just went up on their price. By now it's $140 a year. So they went up by over $50 a year on their, and there's nothing on the app to justify that $50 increase. At least these other apps, they'll go up like, instead of $19.99, now it's like $23.99 now a month. So at least it's like incremental as opposed to a whole $50, almost $60 a month. And yeah, like this show was great, and I would totally watch it again. So that's what I think of Blue-Eyed Samurai. But the question is, have you guys seen Blue-Eyed Samurai? What did you think about Blue-Eyed Samurai? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section below. Again, if this is your first time checking out one of my videos and channel, please check out the other videos on my channel. If you like what you see, please subscribe for more and hit that bell notification button so you're alerted every single time I post a new video. Hit the like button. It'll help with the YouTube algorithm. Tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.